Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Hi everyone, Dr. Vernita here, CEO and founder of Glenn White Global Solutions, home of Empowered Educators Academy, where we are on a mission to one, you should know it by now, raise the vibration of the education profession, 2, transform the learning experience of 1 billion students and adults, and 3, heal the nation through education. Yes, and one starting place is right here, building a foundation on the principles of how we treat each other. And although I keep saying how we treat each other, it's really about how we treat ourselves, how are we conducting ourselves and holding ourselves accountable in those in tough situations. These principles can be used in the personal life and professional life. They're mainly built on as guidelines for engaging in tough conversations about in school settings. Now, this doesn't have to be in school settings. This doesn't have to be in the education profession, but since that's what I do, that is how a lot of my examples relate to this. But again, you do not have to be in the education profession. Anywhere you are interacting with people, having meetings, and you know that things could get a little dicey, a little rough, tend to go left a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. And you can also use them in your personal life as well. You will hear me, and you have heard me over the course of the series talk a lot about the intersection of your personal and professional lives. And I believe once you have that nice harmony of your personal self and working on your personal self, the personal empowerment, really reflecting, becoming self-aware, getting out of your comfort zone, all of that, because there is a journey to going on to be personally empowered. It is a journey to get to a certain level, and I believe once you do that, and not just really believe, this is what I've experienced. Once you become so personally empowered, you become professionally powerful. Able to make those decisions, change directions, really living your purpose, all of that. So that's just my little, because I just love personal development. I started that journey about almost 3 years ago now, like really focus on it and made such a difference in my life. All right, number 12. I've been dropping this in all of the principles because it flows through all of them. We went through all 11 of those really just to hit this point home. Principle number 12, all voices have value. And yes, it's like, do we have to say that even though we went through everything else? Yes, we still have to say all voices have value. The purpose of coming together, having conversations, and really, I'm going to stick with tough conversations, is because we want to solve a problem, or we want to create an atmosphere to where people can speak their truth and come up with solutions and resolutions to whatever it is we're trying to work towards or resolve. In order to do that, after we've done all of those principles, we still have to acknowledge that all voices have value, right? So if you go through all of that work, and I'm not saying that the principles go in order, like if you don't respect silence, you can't ask open-ended questions or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. All of these work together. But if you're noticing maybe someone shutting down a person different from them, then someone in the group can remind the person, remember, all voices have value, and that's what we want to do that's what we want to do to each other. You're not calling out that person and saying that they're wrong, but your safe space, like your buffer, is using the principles. And I haven't mentioned that, so I want to say something about that. Make sure I'm clear with that. The purpose of having these norms is to take you from being like the tattletale, like, oh, they're not respecting silence, or they're not asking open-ended questions. No, it's not that. It's if you're noticing and you're engaging in, how you have those break-off groups in a lot of workshops, and you have to turn and talk to your partner or your neighbor, and we're trying to really get to some unresolved issues, and they're not asking the questions they should be asking, or they're giving you advice when they shouldn't be giving you advice, or any of those. All you have to say is, hey, remember these norms? You agreed to them. And right now, I feel the agreement is being broken in this area. So you're not saying that the person is wrong, because here's the thing. If you don't agree to the norms, then you don't need to be in the meeting. The fact that you stayed in this meeting, or the fact that you're in this workshop, or whatever the case may be, you agreed. Now, I know some people say, well, I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. Now, your choices have consequences. So if you don't like the norms that your group is bringing to you, you do have the choice to leave. And that's another part about personal empowerment. You have a voice, you have a choice. Just be prepared for what's going to happen afterwards. And who knows, maybe nothing will happen. I don't know. But if you choose to stay after the norms have been shared and agreed upon, then you agree to follow them. So to be within those guidelines. So all voices have value. And here are some examples, because I've seen this happen. I haven't seen everything happen, but a person with a visible disability, a lot of times I've seen people shut that person down. Their voice have value, just as the person who doesn't have a visible disability have value. Their voices have value. In our situations, is equal weight. And again, this is not about agreeing or disagreeing. They have a right to share and be heard. A Muslim man has his voice has value, just as the same as a person who decides not to be identified by their gender have value. Our voices have value. A Black woman's voice has the same value as a white male's voice in this room. Now, I'm not getting deep into what the society says, but that's the whole point of creating a hospitable and accountable community. See what I did there? All voices. This is our safe place for us to really get down to those issues. Because if we can't do this in a smaller space, how in the world do you think we're going to change the world? I don't know about you, but I'm on that mission to change the world in my own little path, using the gifts and talents that I have. So that is a big one for me. And I know when I've done these workshops, I ask participants, which one of these where you struggle with. And a lot of the women, and these are the administrator women, like bosses up at the top, principals, assistant principals, district superintendents, like that. And when they're in the meetings, especially with their male colleagues, they feel that their voice doesn't have value. You know, people are over talking them. People aren't listening to their ideas. Now, they're top women, so people are listening to them in their other circles of influence. But then when they reach this next level, then they shrink a little bit. And I was like, wow. You know, so imagine how powerful things could be when you set up guidelines to say, hey, everyone, all voices have value. And this also goes to, I said this earlier in one of the principles, just because, like, let's say you're in a room and everyone looks like you know, visibly, doesn't mean that there isn't some invisible, I'm about to say invisible, invisible differences there. So you want to check the room, see who you have in there, and make sure that you're giving voice to everyone. Again, this is not to be like kumbaya and everyone's all singing the same note, but this is about everyone having an opportunity to share, speak their truth, and feeling safe to do so, and feeling seen and heard, and of course valued. Yeah, that's all I have to say with that one. Just make sure all voices have value. And the key part, the other people in the groups, they have to speak up if they notice it, not you. Because if you speak up and you're the person that's being devalued, then it looks like you're being emotional. And even though you're standing up for yourself, but it's more powerful when someone else, like, hey, guidelines here. And then it's like, now we're holding each other accountable. That's why it's important to not only have a hospitable environment, but also an environment where everyone is being held accountable. Yeah. Whew, that felt good for me. What about you? So, of course, I always tell you something at the end. I'm really going to push for Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, Dr. Vernita Glenn White. Over there, if you want the free gift, the one that's current at the time of our conversation right now, it is 8 mistakes leaders make in the digital space. You can go get that from drvernitafreegift.com. And why did I do that when I'm talking about all this other stuff? Because that's like the entryway, like for people to say, what mistakes am I making in this digital space? And then we start going deeper into the layers, like especially with leadership, like how are you talking to your team? What are you expecting from your teachers? Getting to that curriculum part. I mean, it all connects. I promise. I got it. It all connects. And then if you want to know the go inside the vault, like Dr. V's vault, you go to drvernitafreegift.com/stash to get my secret stash. All right. So I am Dr. V. Thank you so much for listening and learning with me. And I will see you for the final principle. And I promise you, you have no idea what it is. Can you guess? Yeah, before I say it, no, because then you're going to see that you might. Let me know, like right now, like if you can guess. Yeah, let me know, or send me like a message if you can guess it before you see it, because it's going to blow your mind. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.